I love it.
Night.
Wednesday night is ladies' night, and we have two firecrackers in the house. Kanda, Member of Parliament, Alice Wahome, and Kisumu County Woman Rep.
Yeah.
What did
Rosa
I say?
Akinyi Buyu.
Buyu goes down.
AKA Modoni.
Modoni.
No.
Who you know? Modoni is this one.
That's Modoni.
Alaya, don't give her name.
Okay, real quick, before the break, you were saying that you had to say why you're supporting BBI.
Yeah.
But it is my turn.
No, Jeff,
Is it your turn?
Yes, it is my turn.
Okay, can I ask you a question from Mheshimiwa Peter Mwadhi?
Yes.
He's asking you directly. Ask Honorable Alice Wahome to qualify your statement that BBI is crafted to extend the term limit of the president.
I said that was initial intention.
Oh.
But I
According
think
to
they
who?
have failed to do. They have not managed to do it.
Jeff, I'm just saying.
Hold on. Let her answer.
According to who, Alice?
Hold on, Mesh.
She's finished saying.
Oh.
You know, we were told about Kaputin. Remember, somebody came here and told us about Kaputin. You know, like copying Putin. So you know, somebody is also very young. Other people are very young to retire. These stories. Today you are also hearing that we may not be ready for elections in 2020.
Jeff,
those stories were some of the things they were trying to cook when they were doing this BBI in a manner that was not transparent. Because if you want transparency, and I want Mwadhi to understand, this is, you know, he's a senior member of parliament. He needs to understand that it is not acceptable, and I know they have been doing it. It is not acceptable to cook a constitution through dubious methods that are not supported by law. I'm saying that that is one goof that we did. And you know, Jeff, as we move along, even today, there is no law that is supporting this process. Today, we don't have a referendum law, and we are told we will do the referendum in July. We have two bills. I left the JKLive committee last year, I think July, that's when, I didn't leave. I was thrown out because of expressing my mind and independent thinking. Of course, I have talked a lot about democracy and ensuring that really Parliament doesn't have to become a stooge or a rubber stamp of the executive. So therefore, since last year, and the referendum bills were there, one from Kioni, Jeremiah Kioni, and another one from the IBC and the committee, JKLive committee. And they were literally at the tail end. Today they haven't been moved because nobody wants a clear process. You know, within the referendum law, there was a proposal that we do multiple choices, actually.
Jeff.
There's a question. It was a multiple choice question.
Yes, so whether we can allow Kenyans to make choices, because there is a lot of things. You know, we are not doing an overhaul of the constitution, but we are also having a very, huge chunk of
what happened to keeping
articles that we are bringing it. You can't keep it simple if you want to affect various articles like we are doing, and so therefore she was when we went to the before we went to the break, she was saying that I am no longer Jubilee member of Parliament because she thinks I have moved and that we are not observing party discipline. You know, our party has been left with one person who is the whip, who is the party leader, who is also the disciplinary master or the discipline master. That is David Murathe, the vice chair. He calls the shot and then he gives the chunk to Tuju for delivery or execution. So those are two people, literally. They are no party organs. Our party is not functional. And I'm
Jeff,
not, and you have seen.
All right.
We don't call for meetings.
You're waiting to jump in, aren't you?
Before I lose the point, because now she's on another point, I'd just like to say that indeed this UDA should have actually been renamed to be UPA, United Propaganda Association. Why do I say that? You heard Honorable Wahome say that BBI was brought to extend the presidential term
limits.
There was some intention, yeah.
I mean, where did she get that? And this is what is the problem. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. When the opportunity was there for leaders to go back to their counties and their constituencies and help in public participation so that we'd educate and discuss the BBI report with the public. I'd like to ask Honorable Wandara, did she do that for Murang'a? I did that for Kisumu. As a responsible leader, did she do that for Murang'a County?
Are you talking about Wahome or who is Wandara?
It's Kandara.
Kandara. Yeah. Did you do that for Murang'a County?
I didn't. Rosa, I've never.
So what I'm saying
I've
is
never
this.
Presented. You asked a question.
No, just give me an opportunity. That was a rhetoric question, which does not.
I didn't because
answer.
there was no committee.
You know, so what it is we are losing it. We are losing it because we want to complain, we want to criticize, and yet you don't want to take up opportunities that have been offered to you, so that the constitution that comes is a constitution that will serve all Kenyans. If you choose to alienate yourselves, Kenya will not stop because members of UDA have alienated themselves from the constitution-making process, because Kenya is bigger than any party. And I want to tell you, I'm a woman representative of Kisumu County. This is the county that has actually experienced the greatest turmoil during violence that emanates from elections. And so when you talk about BBI, and you tell us it's going to bring peace, and you tell us it's going to bring stability, and you tell us it's going to bring unity, because we are coming from that experience where many of our children died, where women were raped, we will stand on the forefront to support that process that will ensure that with any other election, we will not have that sort of violence. And that is why I'm supporting it. I'm supporting it also as a woman, because it will give us opportunity which we've never experienced before. We've tried, and Alice and I have been in the women's movement for a long time, fighting for this 2/3 gender rule, which we've never managed to get. And BBI is giving it to us. And I'm surprised that Honorable Wahome can sit here and talk about how expensive it's going to be because we are going to have more women nominated. When we've been fighting for this all the time, with the new constitution of 2010, it's been an expensive constitution. We came up with governors, 47 governments, 47 governors. We came up with independent commissions. All those offices brought in new people. But we said democracy is expensive. And if it's going to make Kenya a better place, we all chose. Almost 68% of Kenyans voted for that constitution. So we are now going to talk about the price we have, the expense. You might pay a little price for that democracy. And for Kisumu County and many other counties that signed to that BBI, we are going to pay the price because to us, we want that peace. We want that stability.
Okay, the question
we want
is
that security.
All right, good points you make, but let me ask you this. Will the handshake last beyond this? Will it last?
You know, handshake was a symbol, okay? I can shake your hand as a symbol of the relationship of the cordial relationship between us, for example. But even when you are in, you said you are in Kiambu, and I'm in Kisumu, which is in Nyanza, we won't be shaking hands, but that cordial relationship, that cordial feeling, that feeling of togetherness, that feeling of oneness will still last. So we must not always be shaking our hands all the time, you know, to make sure that this is going on. That was a symbol of inclusivity, a symbol of forgiveness, a symbol of peace, a symbol of unity, which is what this country needs.
And some people felt left out.
By choice.
No.
Because remember the deputy president was part and parcel of all this.
Maybe now I can go, Jeff.
You feel left out.
I feel that Kenyans were not properly involved, and I will repeat, they were not properly involved because there was no legal framework that would guide the process of engaging Kenyans at every stage. And you don't make a constitution in a day. You have, you know, there are many stages and processes that you need to put in place that will speak to transparency, that will speak to content, that will speak to contribution and public participation. There is nothing like that. A committee or a task force was put in place which was not anchored in law, and from then on, then they would have meetings in all manner of places, because also venues sometimes are guided by the legal framework. So when Rosa is asking whether I did present, no, I didn't, because I did not recognize the task force. You know, because I don't think I want to participate in that a process that is not well factored in law. And for me, I will remain on that. It doesn't matter how it is done. I know this is a document supposed to come to Kenya, and Kenya will speak to the document at the right time. Even if it is taken through the throat, down the throat of Kenyans, I can tell you history will judge some of these people who are key leaders of our proponents of BBI very harshly. And I'm saying that because what we are doing to 2010 Constitution, at the very wrong time, we are supposed to be spending money, energy, thinking to fight COVID-19
I told you.
pandemic.
I told you it was coming. I told you.
Kenyans are feeling very frustrated. We lock them in, and then we start running around with the BBI. What are we trying to tell Kenyans who cannot feed their families because we have locked the country? What are we saying when we know that people are stealing money, supposed to buy beds, supposed to give us oxygen, supposed to ensure that our hospitals at the county level actually can be able to receive patients who have been affected by COVID? So let me go to say why. Then the document is not good.
Before you say that, lockdown has been lifted, as you well know.
No,
and it was a necessary
it was from last year. You lock down, but then you don't bring measures. That's what I said. That you lock down, then you eat the COVID money. What is that? And then the rest of the money you propose to take to BBI.
And I think
when you cannot buy masks.
Evil.
Rosa, hold on. You spoke.
No, go ahead.
You cannot even buy masks. We are having children back to school. They are saying, many parents are saying they can't afford school fees. Landlords are closing houses. And I'm not blaming anybody for the COVID, but we can blame the Minister for Health and the Minister for Finance for not working towards then the necessary measures, because COVID is here then. What measures are we putting in place? Are we putting money where it is supposed to be? Or we are now taking and diverting energies and money? And then what about if we go to referendum in July? What was the point of locking?
So you're saying,
Jeff,
you're saying there's no credit goes to
Jeff.
So let me go then. This constitution, Jeff, is undermining the independence, is an affront to the independence of the judiciary. And I want Kenyans to know, we had problems with the judiciary before 2010 constitution. Within the judiciary, now we have the JSC. We are proposing by this BBI to create something we are calling an ombudsman. Not a problem to have an ombudsman, maybe to receive some complaints, blah, blah. But then that ombudsman is appointed by the president and brought to sit in the executive, in the JSC, where you are hiring judges, where you are actually receiving complaints also to take to a tribunal. The JSC and the judges, you cannot receive the complaints at JSC and then discipline the judges. You know that for you to discipline the judges, you receive the complaint and request for creation of a tribunal, or recommend the creation of a tribunal, which then is independent. But the ombudsman will actually be reprimanding and actually suspending and punishing even judges.
Okay,
so that is one. Let me see the other reason.
I want to say this. No, you're making me lose points, and because let's discuss
I will
issues
give another
and then
reason
move on.
why. Yeah.
I want to say this. If there's anything I'd credit the government of President Uhuru with, is the way they've handled the COVID issue. Lockdown was a necessary evil. And I think the two options was, do lockdown so that you can minimize casualties, or let us go scot-free and go on the way we want, as we've always been, and have many casualties. So I think it was a necessary evil. And I'd like to say that when Alice or Honorable Wahome says that, why do you lock down and people are getting hungry? It is true that Corona is with us. It is also true that people are going through untold economic suffering because of Corona. But that is not only happening in Kenya, because this is a worldwide pandemic. But is it also true that because of Corona and because of the economic suffering that we're undergoing, that life has to stop and everything else has to stop? When Corona is going to be here with us for a long time, I think a pragmatic leader would actually accept that there is Corona, would also be sensitive to the fact that his people or her people are suffering economically, and do everything that they can, but at the same time preserve their lives. And that is what we are seeing here. But what Honorable Alice wants us to do is, there is Corona, let us sit crying and wait for corona to catch us and we die, or as we go about, because if you don't go out, you are going to die of hunger. If Uhuru closes Kenya, people will die of hunger. So let Uhuru just open Kenya. Let us just go about our ways as as usual, and it doesn't matter how many people die. Corona is here and people are suffering, and we appreciate that.
And by the way,
but life has to go on.
Look what happened to India. It seemed like they dropped the ball. And look what is happening in the second wave.
Oh yes.
Somebody dropped the ball.
And you can't afford to drop the ball.
Jeff,
all right.
What we are saying.
Before you go, let's read some feedback. What do you say? Let's get some feedback. I know you all want to talk, but Msamakweli, on Twitter says, so how will Wanjiku benefit from more MPs? Mheshimiwa?
I think we must understand that these MPs or members of parliament actually represent Wanjiku. And what is happening is there's been that feeling that Kenyans are not being treated equally, that every vote does not count equally, because there are some constituencies that are probably large and have more Kenyans, a higher population, and yet they have one single representation as another small constituency. So there's been that feeling that if our 2010 constitution actually said that we are all Kenyans and we are all equal, how come my vote does not count as much as the other person's vote?
Okay, do you agree, Mwesh? Benefit of Wanjiku?
I think the question of representation is key and is important, but it is not. It's not a do or die this year or next year. And indeed, if we were to do it correctly, and we should do it correctly, the IEBC would delineate the boundaries, and they would need funding for that. They will need to engage Kenyans for about a year or two, so that when the boundaries come, actually, then there is no conflict, and that must happen and complete 12 months to the next general elections. But we can still address the question of representation, because the Kenyans who are feeling that they are not adequately represented are saying we need to be given one shilling for our vote or for our numbers. 1 shilling equal to the other person. So we can deal with this by providing more funding to those big constituencies for now, without the need for a member of parliament.
All right, more tweets. Abdinasir Bilo too says MCAs and MPs were elected to work on service delivery and not on constitutional changes. On matters of this document, we shall shade under. There is need to say this loud, that every Kenyan has a right of say and not leaders only.
I think that's true, and every Kenyan is going to have a right of say with the referendum. But the process of popular initiative says that it goes to parliament and then goes to the people through a referendum. So indeed, every Kenyan will have a say on at referendum. Okay,
Tom Thoya says, please tell Honorable Wahome and Honorable Buyu that after today's experience, some of us are looking forward to them influencing their party bigwigs. At least nominate a female DP running mate. Tunangojea.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That'll be the day.
No, it's coming soon.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
We're looking forward.
Both of you?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, should we hold our collective breath or?
You might be actually sitting here with a possible deputy president from either side.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cindy says,
or prime minister.
Kenyan leaders are quite excited about President Suluhu's smartness, great humor, etc. They all think they'll learn a lot from her, but will our leaders really learn anything? This is just for the moment. Soon, they'll all forget everything and go back to their usual behavior. This is true. Back to factory settings by tomorrow. You all will be, back to your...
she's an amiable person. She's a friendly person with great humor. Why was the deputy president not invited?
I think the deputy president must have been invited, but he's sulking or just giving everything the president is doing a cold shoulder, and instead he chooses to meet people in his office or home in Karen, because to him that has become his new job. So anything that the president is doing now, he's not concentrating on that. He's on a different path that he has chosen himself. So
they insist they weren't invited.
I think he must have been invited, because going by what I see him doing of late,
what have you seen him doing?
All he seems to prefer is meet groups in his current home.
Okay, Mark Oseno.
Karen is his residence, Jeff. It's an official residence.
Yeah, so
and he's entitled to do activities there. I don't know whether they want him to dance or sleep the whole day.
No, we like
when they seem to have taken over the job from him.
The job of dancing.
He will definitely do what he has to do.
I think he's on a different path.
And he's a candidate,
chosen what he wants to do.
2022.
Told you we're back in factory settings.
He is a candidate, Rosa.
Mark
Like it or
Oseno,
not,
Her Excellency Samia Suluhu is a wonderful soul, the true African woman power. She represents the rebirth of the other side of a woman no one expected. It should be an energizing standpoint for women leaders in Kenya.
Exactly, I totally agree with that.
Oh, finally you're in agreement.
No, we are...
Kanji Ben says, the unity that we saw today with the women parliamentarians after Mama Suluhu's address today is what we should see in tomorrow's voting in Parliament. Honorable Alice, Honorable Rosa, kindly do that again tomorrow.
At the end of this session, I hope that we'll have had a discussion, and I'm confident that Honorable Wahome will vote for
Rosa,
BBI.
Rosa, in your bad dreams. If you see me there, just know we are in a dream.
So you're not even coming?
So no, I will be voting. I'm saying voting.
Okay.
Yeah, the route you are speaking
Yes.
to, I stand on principle, Jeff, and I can tell you I have said 2-3 things about why I wouldn't vote. It's not personal. It's really speaking to the document and content that she said. She knows that we are undermining the judiciary, the National Police Service. The IG is now being given powers that are being handled currently by the National Police Service. We changed the force to a service so that we can deliver proper service to Kenyans. There are several things that are not good in this document.
But
and
Jeff,
if it passes,
if we are to speak to the content,
but Jeff, if Honorable Wahome seems to be so worried about the economical status of Wanjiko, how then would she oppose BBI? This just doesn't...
How does BBI now help Wanjiko? You have been asked there, you didn't ask.
How would she oppose BBI when BBI proposes to take 35% of the national cake down to where Wanjiko is? When BBI, on top of that, proposes that 5% of all the expenditure within the county actually goes to better the lives of Wanjiko, categorically responding to the Article 43, which talks about shelter, which talks about water, which the real key issues that affect Wanjiko down there.
But she's not disputing that. She's just saying there are other issues.
No. So for me, because when they talk, they seem to base all their information or all their points on the life or the suffering of Wanjiko. And BBI is actually coming to better that suffering, to better the lives of the people. So if that is one big point, I've said in Kisumu for me what my big point is. But if their big point is the low economic power or purchasing power of Wanjiko, and this is coming to better the lives of Wanjiko, for that one reason, wouldn't they vote in BBI? You know, Jeff,
Rosa here is saying that she will vote for BBI because it will bring peace, that it will unite Kenyans. That BBI will,
from where
will address Wanjiko's challenges or problems of, economic disempowerment.
Yes.
I want to tell you very clearly, you actually are overburdening Wanjiko by enlarging Parliament, enlarging the executive, Jeff, Prime Minister, 2 deputies, 22 deputy ministers, plus, yes, there will be ministers and deputy ministers. All these come with trappings of power and offices and expenditure. Currently, we are only making about 1.7 trillion. And we need to spend about 3, our budget is 3 trillion. So we have that deficit, and then we create this extra. Because you are saying that you want to take 35% to the counties, you cannot deliver 15% today. I think even then that speaks to the timing. Okay. Why are you doing it now?
At the end of the day,
we believe, Jeff, that you need to create and bake a bigger cake so that then you can be able to give money to Wanjiko at the bottom level to carry on her businesses, to enlarge her economic, to deepen her work, and kind of access economic access funding for her micro businesses.
Okay,
and that is what we are calling bottom-up approach. But we have been starting from top to bottom, and the top has only 15% of elites, business people, large magnates, and all that. But the rest of Kenyans are at 85 and below, with a total of 15 million Kenyans that live on day to day. They wake up, they don't know where their food will be.
And that's
they don't
why.
know how.
Jeff,
and then BBI cannot be the answer.
That's why
Rosa.
BBI says, even if you bake a big cake, and you only take 15% to the ground, that means you are withholding 85% up here, where you're saying only 15% of Kenyans are. And that is why BBI is saying, bake that big cake, but take 35% on the ground, so that at least what remains up here, for those 15% you're talking about,
point of information, the cake we are baking, we are not baking to give to the national government. We want to bake the cake at the bottom where Wajiko is, by empowering Wajiko to be able to stand on her own and do her business there.
Okay. And when did you realize this? You after your 5 years now is when you've realized that Wajiko is suffering at the bottom?
It's never too late to do the right thing.
It's insincerity.
It is never too late to do
but
the right thing.
Never too late to bake a cake.
Yes, and Rosa, you will prepare yourself. You'll meet the deputy president as a candidate next year.
No, I'm not.
You seem to be bitter and have a thing with him.
And
you will meet him next year. Prepare yourself properly.
No. I'm not bitter.
I will be campaigning for him myself.
This is going to be a contest. And he's welcomed as a Kenyan, to contest.
So why are you talking about him every year?
And if it's DP versus Baba?
Oh,
no problem. In fact,
because they are Kenyans and they are adults and they are registered voters and they can go for that seat. That is okay. So I'm not bitter about anybody contesting. All that worries me is the contradictions that seem to govern your
these guys, Jeff, have abandoned the opposition leadership. Governance in this country, the government is not just the Jubilee government or the official government. There is government by way of opposition. These people will answer to Kenyans because they have left the work of checking the government and have moved into bedroom or
but
bed
that's the way
with
you
the government.
Answer to Kenyans.
That's what they are doing.
Why you did
so
not
she
make
cannot be the one lecturing me on how to behave within my party. Let them move out from the government and go and do the work of checking the government.
Speaking about your party, Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Gojiro Wambogo says, hey, Mheshimiwa, I'm still in Jubilee, as is Murathe and Mwadhi and hundreds of others. You're the one who left. You're the one who
I did not leave Jubilee. Remember, Jeff, the last time we visited Jubilee, we took initiative to actually go and check on our party headquarters, and it is our party, and each member of parliament pays Kenya shillings 10,000 to run the secretariat. What did we find? That Murathe and Tuju will thereafter say, these people have no business coming to this party and they should get out of the party. Nobody has bothered to call members of parliament or the team that he is referring to any useful meeting. We have called to 3 meetings. One meeting was to punish Duare, jack him out.
I think
after all doing that work, the other meeting was in State House. The other meeting was in State House, where we were all sacked. Those people who don't speak, who are not sycophants of certain.
Jeff, I think we move this from Jubilee so that we discuss the national issue. And the person
you raised, I'm answering to the question, Rosa. I'm answering to the question, and I think I just did.
You did.
So I have not moved out. I'm a member of Jubilee, nevertheless, because that is what the law says.
I think the people who have a lot of answering to do to Kenyans will be this Jubilee party, which Alice is claiming to still be part of.
Yes, also Jubilee
because they made a lot of promises and they made a lot of pledges to Kenyans.
Okay, did
how
we not
much
learn,
of that?
Did we not learn anything?
We are doing the Jubilee that you are talking about is doing BBI.
Did we not learn anything from President Samia Suluhu herself?
I think we did, and that's why we are talking very, very. Jeff, talking well,
Jeff.
So I think
Jubilee,
the people who have
Jubilee
something
now
to actually
has
answer
taken
to,
a new project.
Could I just
BBI
say something, Jeff?
And constitution making referendum.
I want to say
project.
that the people who will have to answer, the people who have a lot to answer to Kenyans for, is your party or the party that you used to belong to, because you made pledges, you made promises. How many of those have you actually effected?
Like I said,
we are doing BBI and
we are back to factory
Jubilee is doing Lege and BBI.
Okay,
Rosa.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Let's take a leave from
we take leave for
Samia,
break,
please.
I think she was
great. President.
This we can vote later and discuss.
The referendum.
Let's move from BBI. You see,
No,
that is how
we're done. The show is done.
So
we're done for today.
We can vote in the referendum.
We're done.
Jeff, so we are done, but
We're done.
are we uniting Kenyans from that discussion? Do you think we are uniting Kenyans through BBI?
Yes, we are.
Why don't you come back again? We'll discuss this another time. How do you?
Whether we are uniting Kenyans. When BBI will have united Kenyans, then we can
All
ask,
right.
did it unite
Wow.
Kenyans?
Candidate Member of Parliament Alice Wahome. Woo! Kisumu County.
Oh.
Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
Akinyi Buyu.
I like the way you say Akinyi.
Akinyi.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you for coming, ladies. We appreciate it.
Jeff, thank you.
As always, and good luck. And again, maybe one of you will be deputy president or president.
Why not?
Why not?
Oh, why
right
not?
path.
On the right path.
Why
Thank
not?
you so much for being a part of the show, folks. Thank you. And don't forget, JKLive is powered by Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker exhibiting its eminence in electrifying quality and celebrating 200 years of blended Scotch excellence. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff. At Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag is JKLive. Yes, I am talking to myself. You're watching me like there's no audience, but the audience is there.
We are seated here.
You know, he's talking to the screen.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good
You've
luck.
got a difficult job, but you do it very well.
Thank you so much.
You do it
Thank
really
you.
well.
And God bless all our women.
And God
Yes.
bless President Samia Suluhu.
Suluhu Hassan.
Oh,
absolutely.
yes.
I think there was a gap in her speech today. She didn't speak about women. And I hope the
It
next
was
speech
obvious.
she will.
It was obvious.
The next time, I'm sure she will say
I
something.
guess she wanted
Never
to.
satisfied.
No, she wanted to.
She is never. You see
wanted
that?
to move
Now she
away.
wants more.
You know,
No.
when you're a president, the thing that we leaders who are female,
Okay.
the mistake we
All right,
make
all right.
is that you present yourself as a woman. She is a leader.
Oh, Lordy,
There
Lordy.
was a statement that
I
was
thought her
made.
speech was
No, we are
perfect.
saying she's good and she's on the right path. But we would want also to remind her next time she must talk about.
Don't make me
women
use
there.
this.
No, you can use it. You know, you have been using it before.
I think she came out
And
as a
that's
true
not to
leader
say-
Yes,
who
indeed.
was a leader to both men and women,
All right.
and she didn't want to overemphasize the fact that she was a woman, but she really
Okay, I'm leading
did
us
us
out
good.
of the show.
She did us proud.
We're out. Good night. Good luck. God bless you. Wow, these people, they talk. Ish. Factory settings.